Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today we are going to be talking about the Pakistan squad. Of course, last time around when we came live, we did discuss about the Indian squad, but today we're not going to be talking about Pakistan squad. We're going to be reviewing it. We're going to be analyzing their chances for this Asia Cup because it's going to be technically played in their own home ground. It's UAE. They've had a great record in UAE in the past. They've been doing quite well in that own territory. I mean, last time around when India met Pakistan in the World Cup, and even Pakistan had a glorious one to the semi-final of the T20 UAE World Cup in the last year as well. So UAE seems to be familiar territory for Pakistan, and they're coming with a very strong squad. Of course, they have had a huge blow with Shaheen Afridi missing out in the last moment with a knee injury. We'll be discussing about that as well. I have Sandeepani with me. Sandeepani, how are you doing? And how excited are you to talk about this squad? Because it's an exciting bunch of lads coming into this Asia Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely very excited. You can see from the color of my t-shirt tonight. I have been I've dressed for the occasion, and I think Pakistan definitely have a very good chance of winning the Asia Cup. Although their main bowler Shaheen Afridi is unfortunately going to miss it, and there are also concerns that they are going with a new sort of an inexperienced pace attack when it comes to international cricket, especially because they dropped Hassan Ali from the lineup. So I think the Harry Shroff will have to fill in some big boots, and he has to take good leadership. He has delivered in the Big Bash League, in PSL in the past, so we all know that he can do it for the team. But to lead a bowling attack, it is always going to be challenging, and it is going to be very interesting to see how the young guns, especially players like Naseem Shah, who won single-handedly won the game against Netherlands, how they go against the experienced players from India. And I think India and Pakistan are the two main favorites for the Asia Cup this time around. And I think if anybody else gets it, it is going to be a major sort of upset. We can't really call it an upset, but a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, we often term them to be the favorites, but even when you term them to be the favorites, they have, Pakistan last won an Asia Cup in 2012, and Pakistan has just managed to win two out of the 15 Asia Cups which have been played, and India managed to win seven out of it. Last time around, people expected Pakistan to be in the final. It was Bangladesh who took on India in the final. So, these things keep on happening in the Asia Cup, right? Time and time again, you see different teams coming up, especially the likes of Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka have been a formidable unit as well. We'll be talking about
Yeah.
them in the coming lives, but we are talking about Pakistan today. And
Yeah, I
we
think
have a
when you talk
question.
about Bangladesh and teams like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka coming up and beating Pakistan at the Asia Cup, but you have to understand that in the last Asia Cup, Bangladesh were the team on the rise. They had all the experienced players. They were on good shape. They were coming into the Asia Cup uh, probably as the third favorite or the fourth favorite in the team. They were definitely better than Sri Lanka at that point of time.
Yeah,
So I mean, you have to understand at what point you're coming into the game, or at one point what point you're coming into the series. Definitely Pakistan had a strong squad, but we have seen that the batting is the weaker suit for them. It's often in the batting department that they lack in the big games.
yeah,
But with
yeah,
Mohammad
mhm,
Rizwan, Babar Azam, we are going to definitely talk about them like
yeah, sure,
later in the life. But
definitely.
yeah, these players have come in and they had definitely match winners for Pakistan. Pakistan previously had players like Ahmed Shehzad, Mohammad Hafiz, who could on their day turn any game, but I believe these players are way more consistent than the previous ones.
I mean, truly, because one thing which even I am very impressed about Pakistan squad is that they've got the depth, and also somewhere or the other you have to give credit to PSL, isn't it? Since the growth of PSL, I mean, not maybe in the initial years, since last 3-4 years at least, you're seeing plethora of talent coming through, and also this talent who are able to come in and make impact in international cricket, like we speak about IPL as well. Initially, even in IPL, you didn't have that kind of talent coming through, but with more years, you saw more of these talents coming in,
Yeah.
and more of these players who you could absolutely invest upon, who came through to, the ranks in the IPL. That's something which has been happening with PSL as well, with a lot of young talents coming through. I mean, let's talk about Pakistan being the favorites or Afghanistan being the dark horses. Uh, one thing I really feel about this Pakistan squad is, let's pull out the squad first on the screen. Um, Very interesting squad for the liking. If you look at that squad, one might say, you have almost everything covered because they've got certain amount of experience in that squad. You got certain amount of balance in the squad as well. But one thing they definitely will be lacking is the pace armory of Shaheen Shah Afridi, because someone of his stature or someone of his character is going to be so tough to replace, isn't it? And how will Pakistan actually cope up with the miss of Shaheen Shah Afridi going ahead?
Yeah, I think they are definitely going to miss Shaheen Shah Afridi, but you have to understand that some of the other big teams like Team India, they are also missing Bumrah, they are also missing Harshal Patel. So it's going to be challenging for all the sides, not just Pakistan. But when you see this squad, it's consisted of mostly youngsters. Players like
Yeah,
Mohammad Wasim, they haven't had too much experience in the international circuit. They have
yeah,
been very consistent in the PSL. Players like
yeah,
Dahani, Shahnawaz Dahani is one player I was very impressed by
yeah.
in the 2021 season of the PSL.
Yeah,
I'm sure he
he's
did
got
not make.
something about him, right? I
Yeah,
expected him to play in the World Cup last year. Yeah, I thought he could be a wild card of Pakistan because this lad has got
definitely,
pace. This
because
lad
he
has got,
was in some red hot form in the 2021 PSL. He was, I think, the highest wicket taker or the second highest wicket taker, and he was right up there with Shaheen Shah Afridi in terms of wicket taking in the 2021 PSL. But this time around, I think it hasn't gone. This PSL hasn't gone too well for him. I mean, he has performed really well, but I think in 2021 his performance were far superior than this time around. So yeah, I was also surprised. I felt that they could have tried him for the 2021 World Cup, but Pakistan, like India, played it safe. They went for experience rather than the young talents who were making the noise in the domestic circuit, that is IPL or PSL.
yeah,
But this time around, I am very excited to see players like Khuzdil
yeah,
Shah, Haider Ali. They are getting their due, and especially Nasim Shah. I think another player who has been growing. Like, yeah, again, in the last ODI against Netherlands, Pakistan were on the verge of losing, like 34, 35 near of the last 5 overs with 5 wickets in hand. You expect Netherlands to pull it off, but then again, uh, Mohammad Wasim bowled brilliantly, and definitely Nasim Shah. They took the game away from Netherlands. So that shows that under pressure situations, these sort of players they really turn up. So it is going to, yeah, they lack experience, but I mean they are going to be a very formidable side to beat. Just the pace
absolutely.
department, I am also a bit concerned about the pace department, especially because there are no leaders. If either there were Hassan Ali or Shaheen Shah Afridi, you could have sort of said, okay, we have like the experienced players with us. Even though if they don't make it to the playing 11, we the youngsters will still get their money's worth. But right now, I am a bit concerned with the inexperience in the pace bowling department. But you never know, because we have seen players like Muhammad Asif, Muhammad Amir, in their teens, they were performing brilliantly, like right from start. They were
Yeah,
outperforming players like Shoaib Akhtar, Umar Gul, who had played for quite some time by the time they made a mark.
yeah.
So with Pakistan, you never know.
Yeah, that's one thing about Pakistan, but at the same time, they get a little too overexcited with the occasion as well at times. So that's something which these youngsters have to keep in check. Last time around, they came in with a purpose. You could see that from the get go. These lads just came into the occasion. They wanted to win it so badly. Hence, they went to the semi final as well. I thought if they would have gone to the final, they were strong favorites to win the title because I'm talking about the World Cup over here. Though they lost Australia, because of the moment of brilliance by Matthew Wade over there. And even that game, if Hassan Ali would have caught that catch, Pakistan would have possibly qualified to the final as well. So you never know with cricket and with Pakistan. One moment they're up, one moment, next moment they're down, and that's typical way of to put up Pakistan cricket in that way. Because I remember Nasir Hussain making that statement in 2017 Champions Trophy final, where next one moment they're down, they drop the catch of Kohli, next moment they're up, because that's how Pakistan cricket has been. They're the most unpredictable side in world cricket. And nowadays, you have your two bankable options in Babar and Rizwan, as Saini Gupta has rightly mentioned, who are the other players in Babar and Rizwan. You have a Kushdil Shah, you have an Iftikhar Ahmed, you have a Fakhar Zaman. I think Fakhar Zaman is as big a
Let's not
player.
forget Fakhar Zaman was the leading run scorer in the PSL. uh,
Yes.
this season. I mean, for Lahore Qalandars, he was one of the main players who took Lahore Qalandar to their first PSL trophy this season, along with the very strong bowling department that they had. I think they had Haris Rauf, they had Shaheen Shah Afridi, they had Rashid Khan. But in the batting department, it was Fakhar Zaman providing them with absolutely phenomenal starts. that was a
I
key
mean,
for them
truly, I
in
mean,
the
I would absolutely agree with you on that because if you remember, even in that 2021 World Cup, Fakhar Zaman played some important knocks for Pakistan, especially the one in the semi-final. One in the semi-final, remember that, and a couple of knocks here and there he played as well. He played those cameos of 30 runs. He played those important knocks when it came. When Fakhar Zaman wanted to be delivered, he used to come out there and score runs. And him batting a number three was a very good move. I think it was Matthew Hayden's move to make him bat at number three for
yeah.
Pakistan in that World Cup, and it paid up pretty well because before the World Cup, the question was where will Fakhar Zaman bat, or whether should Fakhar Zaman be
Whether
dropped
he'll
of
get
the
a
World
place
Cup.
in the team, because he was also not coming in with like he was not coming into the game with good form, especially opening the innings, because he had some horrible performances opening the opening the innings for Pakistan. But then again, at number 3 is where he really showcased his talent, and I think Fakhar Zaman is going to be the number 3 player for Pakistan in the Asia Cup. I mean,
Absolutely,
there are also players like Haider Ali who will sort of stake a claim, but
yeah,
I feel Fakhar Zaman at number 3, and then I would be very afraid if I am in the Indian camp. I would be very afraid of Shadab Khan right now, because
yeah,
he has been in the form of his life for
yeah,
Islamabad United in the PSL. He was the captain of Islamabad United. Given the captaincy, he outperformed all the bowlers, all the batsmen. At one point of the time, he was the second highest run scorer and the leading wicket taker in the tournament. He missed a lot
absolutely,
of games due to injury, and still he
yeah.
managed to be the second highest wicket taker or the third highest
I mean,
wicket
there's
taker
something about
in the
Shadab
season.
Khan as well, right? I remember, one of those series which he played. I think it was against New Zealand, where he was captaining the side, where he looked a little jaded. He couldn't really get up there. But since then, since the New Zealand season 2020, 2021, I think it was 2020, 2021, around that time, the early 2021, he played the New Zealand series in New Zealand. But since then, he's totally made a revelation, especially he takes a claim as a batter as well. He can bat in
Yeah,
the top six, top seven. He's a very handy batter. He came in as a number 10 batter and now he's number six. He's a very reliable option at number six, number seven. And he's got the big shots as well. And we have a question from Teju as to who. Anyway, actually, we have a statement from Teju saying that Pakistan have got an inexperienced middle order. But then I also think I know there's a heavy bit of reliance on Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. But at the same time, if you look at their side,
there
there are a
is
lot of
Fakhar Zaman,
youngsters.
there is Asif Ali, there is
There's
Khushdil Shah,
Asif Ali,
another
yes,
player.
there's Kushal Shah, absolutely. There's Haider
you
Ali.
you cannot call Khushdil Shah an inexperienced player just because he hasn't played too
And let's
many
not forget it's a
international cricket.
T20 format. It's not a one-day format as well. So
And
even
just to like talk about Khushdil Shah, he has been consistently performing in the domestic circuit for Pakistan for I think 7-8 years now. It's just in
absolutely,
this PSL, after the last PSL, that he got opportunities to play for Pakistan. Especially because Pakistan was so competitive back then, like under Sarfaraz's captaincy, I think they
yeah,
went on to win 10, 11 consecutive T20I matches. So at that point,
yeah,
Pakistan were really consistent. So they were not really tinkering with the lineup. But then again, Khusdil Shah is a player who can give you those 4 overs with the ball on a good day, and with the bat,
yeah,
he's an absolute monster. He's another player like Shadab Khan who has improved immensely with the ball. In this case, Shadab Khan has improved in the batting sector, in the batting front. He has improved in the bowling front. So I think these are two players who are going to make a lot of impact in the Asia Cup and in the T20 World Cup. And also not to forget Khushdil Shah, I think single-handedly won a couple of games for Pakistan as well. I think dead lost games against, if I remember correctly, it was Australia, I guess, touring them. Uh,
I mean, I
and
don't remember that.
yeah,
I think he might have here and there, but he's been a player to watch out for. Even I like the way how he went about in the PSL as well. And Kushal, there's this thing about him, right? He's an all-rounder. He
Multan
walks
Sultans
into
were dominating the PSL. They did not lose. They lost only 2 or 3 games before reaching the finals. That's 14, 15 games we're talking about.
yeah,
And thus they had a bad day in the finals. But I think this time around, Mohammad Rizwan led that team perfectly, Multan Sultans,
yeah. I mean,
backed by
there's something about
performances
Mohammad
from Khusdil
Rizwan as
Shah.
well, right? What he brings to
Yeah.
the team is just not his ability with the bat, but he's also a leader within the group. So, someone like Babar Azam, who's still growing as a captain, will definitely help a lot, or will feed off each
There
other.
are
Actually,
lots of leaders in the group. There are lots of leaders in the Pakistan team right now, because Shadab Khan has captained Pakistan as well as he has captained Islamabad United.
yeah,
There is Asif Ali, who has been the stand-in captain for Islamabad United when Shadab Khan was out injured. So
Yep.
he's also in the team. And then there is also Fakar Zaman, the experience of Fakar Zaman. I mean, that will also definitely come in handy. And
And
Harris Roth has played
then you
all
have
across the world.
then you have a
So
Mohammad
yeah,
Rizwan, then you have a Haris Rauf, then you have Usman Qadir. I know the bowling looks slightly inexperienced on the paper when you compare it with the batting, but bowling as well. They've done decent job in Netherlands. Recently, they were touring Netherlands, and some of the games were really close. If you look at those games where Netherlands were chasing 315 and where Netherlands were chasing 206, on both those occasions, Pakistan bowling were under the pump, but then they were able to come back into the game pretty well. So that also shows certain amount of metal about this team. That these young lads have got the metal, especially someone like Naseem Shah, who has been really promoted in the limited overs format. He's someone who was never seen as a limited overs bowler, but all of a sudden they also are looking at Naseem Shah because in the absence of someone like a Shaheen Shah Afridi, this 19-year-old kid named Naseem Shah is going to be certainly a potent weapon for Pakistan, isn't it? Because alongside, I think the bowling attack is pretty much going to be Usman Qadir, Mohammad Hasnain, Naseem Shah for sure. Alongside that, you might have a Mohammad Nawaz.
Harris Roth. I think Harris Roth is a definite
Harris
11.
Roth is definitely there. Harris Roth is definitely going to be there. Harris Roth is a vital cog in their lineup as well because Harris Roth in UAE conditions is going to be a huge, huge weapon as well. So I think Harris Roth will possibly lead the
I
attacks
think
with the
Pakistan is
experience
going
they've
to
got.
pick one from Muhammad Wasim. No, Nasim Shah is definitely going to be Muhammad Wasim,
Hasnain
Muhammad Hasnain,
or
and yeah,
Shahnawaz
and
Dani.
Shanawaz Dahani. Yeah, they are going to play only one out of the three because I
I
don't
mean, it's
think
so interesting how they
others.
go about
Yeah.
it because
Because they also have a lot of spinning all rounders. Khushdil Shah is a spinning all rounder. There is Shadab Khan. There is also the experienced player in the form of Mohammad Nawaz. I think he also got injured in this season of PSL. He has been very consistent in the PSL in for Pakistan as well. Especially once what was his name? The left arm bowler who is to open the bowling for Pakistan, the left arm spinner.
left arm spinner Imad Wasim.
Yeah, Imad Wasim. Once Imad Wasim sort of lost his form, I think Mohammad Nawaz is a like-to-like replacement for Imad Wasim, and he has done extremely well for the PSL side that he plays for. I think he plays for Peshawar Zalmi. He did
Yes,
exceedingly well for them or Quetta Gladiators. It's either of the two. And I think he did a very good job for them over the
he
last
plays for
7 8
quite a
years. He has
gladiators.
very
He
good
plays for
stats to show.
quite a
Yeah,
gladiators.
yeah,
He plays for quite a gladiators. Yeah, and you rightly mentioned. Mohan has got a question like, who will India go with in the absence of Bumrah and Harshal? I think India. We did discuss in the Indian squad review. India will definitely go with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Arshdeep Singh, and one of Avesh Khan. Avesh Khan is going to
yeah.
be the
But that time when
primary.
we discussed the Indian squad, I think Bumrah was still in there. So I think
No, no,
Bumrah's
I don't.
replacement.
No, no, we did
Yeah, yeah,
discuss
yeah,
the
yeah.
Indian squad
Bumrah was
after the
there.
announcement as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you can go
So
watch
I
that
think
video. But
just
today,
in place of Bumrah, they are going to get in somebody like a Deepak Chahar. Based on current form, I think he made a good return in the
but I don't think
Zimbabwe
he's going to be
series.
playing the Asia Cup, and he's not made a stake. He's not staked a claim for Asia Cup as well. So he's in the standby list.
Yeah, yeah,
As
yeah.
of
He's in
now,
the
what I
standby,
see,
but I guess he's going to get promoted. I think if he does not play, then
he
the
he
three
might
seamers
not.
that team. Yeah,
It's a tough call, but I think you should watch that video where we discuss about India. Right now, we're totally focused on Pakistan team, and are you guys supporting Pakistan? I mean, we are not supporting Pakistan, but
I'm just supporting good cricket and
I'm supporting
also
good
India.
cricket exactly. I mean, we're not supporting either way. If against India versus Pakistan, of course, the bias is going to be towards India
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
sure. I can't deny that I would look like a fool if I
No, no,
if I
definitely.
say that I'm not
I'm
supporting
definitely
India.
supporting India in the India Pakistan game.
Of
Not
course,
just India
I'll be
Pakistan game, India versus any game. I'm supporting India.
I mean, of course, I have my biases towards India, but then I
Yeah,
am someone who would like to be more practical towards taking these games, watching these
yeah, yeah, yeah.
games. I don't want to be like too
That is
biased
a
towards.
different aspect altogether. We are discussing
We have to be
the
pragmatic. We have to
analytical
be
side.
realistic. We
Yeah,
have to be we have to be logical in terms of analyzing each team. We are here to support good cricket and good sport, and as Boomer, we are here to talk about all nations equally. There is no bias towards India. We're going to be talking about Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and we love cricket, right? We love
yeah.
cricket. We love good sports anywhere, all across the world, and we're going to be talking about that. Um, Naseem Shah being ineffective in T20Is. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, I understand.
So that's what
Uh,
people said about somebody like a Shaheen Afridi when he came into the four. You never know with these swing bowlers and the UAE conditions are perfectly going to favor players like Naseem Shah, players like Harris Rauf. They are just going to come in and feel like at home, playing at home. So I definitely think that
I
he's
mean,
not
the
going to be
only way
very
possible
ineffective.
Naseem Shah might be threatened or may feel insecure or may be ineffective is because of the very fact that he's a bowler who likes to hit the hard length. And
Yeah.
T20 cricket, he does not have a lot of variations when you compare him with maybe a Shaheen Afridi or maybe someone
But
like a
then he's
Harshit.
a sort of a bowler who will play like Bhuvneshwar Kumar for Team India. Bowl
I
three
mean, he's
overs
got the
upfront
pace,
and just
man. He's got the pace. He hits
yeah.
high 140s at times. He can ball really good pace. But the only thing is that he's not maybe an out and out swing bowler. He's not an out and out, a bowler who can come in and give you those overs on the death. He's not got a lot of variations when you compare him with other T20 bowlers across the world. He does not fit into that category, but he could be possibly an X factor bowler because, he's
Yeah.
still an untested commodity against a team like India. He's still an untested commodity in world cricket, especially limited overs format. He's played a handful of test matches. He's been very impressive. He made his debut when he was 17 in Australia. But let's not compare the test match ball of Naseem Shah with a limited overs ball. He's still growing as a bowler in limited overs cricket.
And mind you,
He'll
he is
compare
going to be very effective. Even that test match bowler, the test match player that is Nasim Shah, he is going to be very effective in the power plays. I mean, Pakistan are just going to use him for 3 overs up front and just keep 1 over in the middle overs or in the death overs. Because with Harris Roth and either of Shahnawaz Dahani or Mohammad Hasnain in the camp, I think the death over bowling for Pakistan is sorted. So I think they are going to use Nasim Shah. Really, they are going to use 3 or 4 overs of his upfront, right, in the top 10 or 15 overs in the innings.
I mean, makes sense. Makes absolute sense because of the very fact that with the kind of depth they've got, with the kind of resources they've got as well. They could use any player right now from the top five or in the top five. I'm talking about the bowling attack. They could use anybody against India, especially Shahnawaz Dani is also a potent factor. They might just give Nasim Shah that rest and say that maybe we're not looking you in the T20 cricket. We're just looking you in 50 overs and test format. Shahnawaz Dani is our preferred option because Shahnawaz Dani has done
Yeah.
exceedingly well in T20 format, and that's why I also have a hunch that it could possibly be Shahnawaz Dani or even Mohammad Wasim Jr. is also not a bad an option as well. He's also a decent pick in that lineup to be
I
playing against India.
frankly don't see Mohammad Hasnain, who was a replacement for Shaheen Afridi, to get games early on, especially against India. Uh, because he has had his issues. He's very young. He's, I think, 22, 20, 23. But still, he has had issues with his bowling action. I think it was one of the reasons suspicious bowling action
In BBL.
led him to quit PSL like mid-season. So I think he's making a sort of a comeback for Pakistan, and this is not the first time that he has had issues with his bowling action. So I don't think Pakistan is definitely like really going to try Mohammad Hasnain unless they definitely absolutely need to. So I think he's going to get games against teams like Afghanistan or Bangladesh, whoever makes it, but not definitely not against India.
Makes sense. Makes absolute sense, because Mohammad Hasnain will be will be under the scanner for sure from the first ball he's going to ball, and even in BBL, he had to quit midway, and there was a certain bit of protest which was raised against him with his bowling as action when he was playing for Sydney Thunder. So
This
yeah,
time
let's go to
also, he had to quit PSL as well due to his
yeah,
bowling
absolutely,
action.
absolutely. And that's
Yeah,
why he's going to be under the scanner. And which is a remodeled bowling action, the confidence to get regained form. It's never easy. And we've seen that with Sulnar and we've seen it with some of the greats as well. It takes time. Rizwan's form is an interesting factor because last year he was a leading run scorer in T20 cricket, the T20 internationals. He was having a dream run last year, but this year he's not quite gotten going. It's definitely tough to keep that consistently throughout. No player in the world will be ever able to match that standard. Maybe Rizwan had one of those holistic kind of 2016 kind of a season for himself. And every time he's gonna fail, he's not gonna reach that benchmark you're gonna be comparing with Rizwan of 2021. So it's gonna be very unfair on Rizwan himself to be comparing himself with 2021 because 2021 was a dream season. If he can better that, it's well and good. But it's going to be very tough to better that kind of a season in T20 cricket because in T20 cricket it's a thick and fast game. A couple of bad shots here and there, you might get out cheaply as well. So you've got to accept failures than success in T20 cricket compared to any other format. And that's why I feel Rizwan's form wouldn't be a lot of concern. He's still looking in good touch with the bat. He's not looking out of form at all in terms of
yeah,
his
definitely. I
confidence.
think he had. yeah, he had one of the best, like he was one of the leading run scorers in this season of PSL, led his team to the PSL championships. Right after the PSL, I think throughout this year he has played just the one T20 internationals. I was just cross checking that he has played just the one game in 2022 for Pakistan and scored 23 runs. So whenever the opportunities that he has got in the ODI format or in the test format, he has been scoring runs, not at the pace at which he was scoring in 2021, but definitely he has been in good form. He's getting those 30s, 40s, and 50s, uh, to sort of clinch the game
Yeah,
for Pakistan when needed. And I
yeah,
think in T20 internationals is where Rizwan made a mark in the 2021 entire year, the calendar year of 2021, with the bat belonged to Rizwan in T20s. So he had a dream sort of a season. You can't expect players like Mohammad Yusuf, who had I think 6 7 centuries in 2006, to continue that effort in 2007. You can't expect Kohli of 2017-18 to continue forever. So you are going to have, say, a Kohli of 2019 2020 is good enough. He's not getting those hundreds consistently, but he's scoring those 50s 70s. That is good enough. Not the Kohli of 2022. So
yeah.
I think Mohammad Rizwan right now is in that phase. Kohli of 2019. Just he has been getting good runs. He has been scoring when needed. Not getting those massive scores this season, but it's still early. So Pakistan are going to play quite a few games before the World Cup as well,
Yeah,
T20 World Cup as well. So I definitely think that he'll get his groove back. And I think he performed really well in the PSL. He was the second or third highest run scorer right after Fakhar Zaman, I guess, in
absolutely.
this season of PSL.
Who should India be scared of and hope there is no dew this time around? I'll first take that. Who should India be scared of? I think India shouldn't be scared of anybody. I mean, why should any team be scared of anyone? I mean, of course, you'll have your matchups, you'll have your certain bit of tactical plans towards these kind of players. I think if India should be wary of any player, it should be um, Babar, of course. Babar Azam. Uh, I
No, but I
know
still
people will.
feel that on paper, the Indian team is stronger than the Pakistani team,
I think
especially
Indian team is a
with that
stronger unit
inexperienced
compared
pace
to
attack. Yeah,
Pakistan in the T20 format. You know why? There is two reasons why, and that's one of the points which was reasoned by Teju himself. He spoke about how 2 wickets can actually demoralize the Pakistan unit
yeah,
and how they're not really an offensive unit. When it compares to Pakistan, they're still a unit who are slightly on the tentative side. Babar Azam is very consistent with the bat. Mohammad Rizwan is very consistent with the bat. But then, are they the kind of players who's going to take the game away from you? Definitely not. If you're going to give them 150, 140, they're definitely going to chase it down quite comfortably. But are they the kind of team who can set a target of 200, 215, 220 against you on a consistent basis? Definitely not.
yeah.
They're a team who can actually set up a target of 160, 170 with Babar Azam scoring a very good 80, 70 odd or 50 or 60 balls. And from there on, they might back their ball to defend that score. That's how Pakistan operates, and that's how Pakistan has always been operating. But here,
That
Indian
is
team
why
is coming up.
the form of Asif Ali, Khuzdil Shah, and Fakhar Zaman are going to be very important. These
Yeah,
are your power hitters. These are going to give you those extra 15 or 20 runs that can be the match winning or the match deciding factor. So you have
definitely.
to see how they go. I mean, your top order are either going to be on form or not be in form. But the Pakistan team right now are in great form, like Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan are in good form. There is Haider Ali, who has been consistently performing for them. Fakhar Zaman is in good form. But that extra ammunition right at the end from Asif Ali, Shadab Khan, Khuzdil Shah can be those extra 15 20 runs is where the game will go. And that is where players like Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant,
Mhm.
Surya Kumar Yadav, all these fearless cricketers for India, that is what will be the deciding factor. That is
Yes,
why we have seen a lot of teams sort of get to this all out attack mode in T20s recently, because they know that, yeah, if one of the players are anchoring, or if both the players are sort of playing an anchor's knock, like rightly pointed out by you, 150 160, you can easily chase that down. But can
absolutely.
you go out there and set a target of over 220 230 to just take the game away from the opposition right after the first innings? That is going to be the main factor over here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. For Pakistan, spin will be the key. Other than Shadab, no one has a good strike rate against spin for Pakistan. Pakistan spin will be key for. Actually, Shadab Khan is going to hold a huge key because Virat Kohli will be tied down by someone like Shadab Khan. Rishabh Pant will be tied down by someone like, though you can say the ball is going to come into him, he's going to fancy his chances, but then Shadab Khan on the last occasion when Rishabh Pant came up against him, he did trouble Rishabh Pant quite a bit, with his wrong runs, and he was trying to take the ball away from Rishabh Pant. And this time around, it's in the same ground. The dimensions are almost going to be the same. It's a bigger ground. Dubai is a bigger ground compared to other grounds. And talking about a dew factor, it's September, the latter part of the summer, and you can expect quite a lot of humidity in Dubai and everywhere. So I think dew is going to be a huge, huge factor even in Asia Cup, as you saw in the World Cup last year. So you can't complain about it. You can only accept the conditions and play, and that's something which you have to understand as well. As Team India, you would want to ball first. I mean, I think almost all the teams are going to ball first in this Asia Cup.
Any team winning the toss is going to bowl first. I think we are going to see 100% track record of teams winning the toss and bowling first, especially if it is a day night game. I think all the games are day night games.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
and that's something which you can't deny also. In T20 cricket, that's been a trend for the longest period of time, unless the pitch has been doing quite a lot, especially where it's like quite slow, and where you want to, when you want to set a score on board, and when you actually fancy yourself defending it. Even in major finals, teams are choosing to chase it down quite comfortably, because they are comfortable in that position where they want to chase scores down, where they feel like, okay, they back themselves, they want to be there, they want to chase it down quite comfortably. But other than that, I really feel, at this very point of time, all the teams across the world will be looking to ball first, and even UAE, it's not gonna be any different, because with UAE, with the dew around, as Teju rightly mentioned, yeah, with dew, which will be a huge factor, I believe, even in this Asia Cup. I think teams are going to ball first. Expect the team who's going to win the toss on the Sunday against. In the India-Pakistan game, to ball first as well. If it's Pakistan, they're going to ball first. If it's India, they're going to ball first as well. Unless unless they want to pull out a surprise to us by stating that that we prefer batting first. That's been our modus operandi. I don't think
that
that's
is
going to be
that
the
is
case.
not going to happen. That is not going to happen, definitely in the India Pakistan encounter. I don't think if the captain wins the toss he's going to bat first. If he does so, I think he's going to face a lot of flack from everyone around the world. I think India Pakistan game is not a game where you are going to sort of think, yeah, I want to challenge my team right now, because I think both the teams will be under immense pressure. It's a India Pakistan game after that drubbing that India received in the hands of Pakistan for the
Yeah.
first time in a ICC, like World Championship, World T20 World Cup. So yeah, I think definitely India will be there to sort of take revenge, and I definitely think Pakistan is going to put up a very strong fight, given that they turn up. It's a very interesting case with Pakistan. Often we see that the Pakistan team, they don't really turn up to the game. I mean, it has not happened in the past 2 3 years, but the Pakistan till to 2018 2019, we used to see that on their days they can even beat Australia, India on peak form. But when they are not at their best, I think teams like Zimbabwe, Netherlands, they can get the better of the team. So it is going to be very interesting to see which Pakistan team turns up, but with a young squad, and the consistent leadership of Babar Azam, and players like Mohammad Rizwan, Fakhr Zaman being in the camp, I think they are definitely going to turn up. So India is going to face some serious competition.
Maybe, yeah, of course. And that's what's been the case with Pakistan cricket, right? They're very unpredictable. On their day, they just could come out and actually pull out victories, like out of nowhere, and you're going to be absolutely shell shocked watching them play. And that's why I also feel, Pakistan are going to be the most unpredictable side, even the T20 World Cup later this year in Australia. Though one might say in Australian conditions they really don't fare up, but then they've got the potency with Shine Afridi also hopefully back for the World Cup. They're going to be a strong, strong contender for that T20 World Cup in Australia. One might have never said this about Pakistan maybe a couple of years ago, but then he spoke about Babar Azam's captaincy, and yeah, there have been times when he's been a little timid, when he's been tactically very awful as a captain, but there have been times when he's been really, really good as well. So it's been a mixed bag with Babar Azam, the captain. It's definitely not been a consistent one for sure, but it's been a mixed bag where there have been ups, there have been also downs, where there have been also times when he has looked absolutely clueless. It all depends on pressure. It all depends on the way how he takes those games. I thought in the World Cup last year he was brilliant, but since then there's something which has happened to him. How do you see Babar Azam, the captain, faring up this tournament? Not the batter, just the captain.
I think that the attitude that this new sort of Pakistan team has been bringing to the T20I side, it started with the 2017 Champions Trophy. I think a lot of credit that is due to players just the captain. I think a lot of credit is due to Sarfaraz Ahmed for sort of grooming this team, for making the country believe that yeah, we can still win ICC championships. I think that sort of the 2017 Champions Trophy was a very good sort of renaissance for the Pakistan cricket team, because prior to that they had not won ICC championship or trophy in a long time. So I think with that, the right attitude was brought about in the team. We used to see the Pakistan team face a lot of flag for their fielding, but right now
Yeah,
they are one of the best fielding sides in the competition, with players like Shadab Khan. They are just so energetic, so athletic. They are, uh, I think, on par with a lot of very good fielding sides right now. Talking
absolutely.
about Babar Azam's captaincy, taking over from Sarfaraz Ahmed, it was a very difficult phase. It was supposed to be a very difficult transition, especially because a team that was built by it was like a transition from Dhoni to Kohli. Dhoni
Yeah,
had sort of built that team. He had introduced a form of cricket. Kohli just continued playing that sort of cricket. So
yeah,
playing the same kind of cricket under new leadership is always challenging. Uh, they had a very good 2021 World Cup, T20 World Cup, which was not really expected. I mean, a lot of teams were saying, yeah, Pakistan are very good, but they were not the favorites heading into the competition. But this time around, they are one of the favorites heading into the competition. So, yeah, after the World Cup, it took some time for Babar Azam to settle down. It usually
yeah,
takes a lot of time. Babar Azam did a fabulous job in the World T20 World Cup. It was freshly good to see him performing so well. Pakistan doing so well in the 2021 T20 World Cup, which was not really expected out of them. But right now, I think with 1 year, 1.5 years of captaincy, with a stable side, with a very good balance of experienced and youngsters in the lineup, in the squad, I think Babar Azam is going to find it easier this time around to captain that side. And I think, yeah, he has been a bit sort of, yeah, very timid. Timid is the right word. He has not been very aggressive at times when probably that was what was actually needed. But yeah, it's still early times. I think they are going to have a good World Cup and a good Asia Cup this time around. And I think the more time Babar Azam gets to captain this side with this sort of approach, attitude that the Pakistan youngsters are showing, I think it is going to only be for the betterment of the Pakistani team. And
I
I
mean,
think they are definitely
absolutely
going to grow.
rightly
Yeah.
pointed out by you. And I think, as Babar Azam is also learning as a captain, he's still new to the captaincy. He's still learning, and I think he's got a good future. And Pakistan cricket is in safe hands. It looks like Pakistan cricket is stable finally with Babar Azam at the helm. And there is one school of thought who really thinks that Rizwan should be taking over as captain because of his records in PSL. It's also a thought which can be given consideration to, because Rizwan has done really good job in PSL. And also, Babar Azam has not really won a PSL. Even when his team won the PSL, it was Imad Wasim who was the captain of the Karachi Kings. So there are different thoughts and different schools of thought, especially even in the
Karachi
Pakistan.
had a horrible season this time around under Babar Azam's captaincy. I mean, they
Yeah,
lost
7
eight
matches
or
in a row.
nine games on the trot,
Yeah,
starting like, yeah. And I think a lot of that had to do with the captaincy, because they
absolutely.
definitely, and also they had a very poor batting performance display this time around. I think they were just
Absolutely.
not competitive with the bat.
Babar Azam was always scoring runs, but then he was
Yeah.
not able to contribute much for the team, and that's been a case with Babar Azam as well. He's been there, he's been scoring at a very low strike rate, and that's been totally antithetic to the latest modern developments in T20I game. T20I game demands high strike rate. That's why we're also demanding a player of Virat Kohli's stature, who was great in 2016-17, but you can't play that kind of a game in 2021, 2022. Those kind of players were great in a particular era of time when they could absolutely adapt. But in this era of T20 cricket, you can't have an anchor, you can't have a player who can really play in that kind of a striker, because it hampers the team, it hampers the way in which a team operates as well. Maybe you can have one of them, but then
Yeah.
if he is also consuming a lot of balls, it makes no sense. The definition of an anchor in T20 cricket has changed quite a bit. If you're an anchor, you should be at least be able to play at 140 strike rate. So it's so much more different when you compare to 2015-16, where you could actually play at 120, 115 and get away being an anchor. Right now, if you're an
And
anchor,
I
you should be
think
batting
the
at 140.
Pakistan opening pair strike rate is going to like grab a lot of eyeballs, because we all know Babar Azam is a slow starter, and so is Mohammad Rizwan. Even in the game against India, I think after the first 6 or 7 overs, they were going at about 6.5 runs per over. They played out the power play, and then they went after the bowling. So
Yeah,
it's going to be very interesting to see, like, if you are supposed, if you are set a target of over 200, how you go about it, how you start about your business, because both Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam take a bit of time to settle down, and then they go for their shots. But
absolutely.
if one of the players sort of consume a lot of deliveries and then get out at the wrong moment, I think it is going to send, not going to send the right signals. I think something that Jason Roy recently in the South Africa series, he was taking a few balls to get going, but when he was like sort of had taken up 16, 17 balls to get to 8, 9 runs, he was going for the shots and he was getting out. So it
Yeah,
was just a loss of 3 overs for nothing. So Pakistan
absolutely.
would definitely not want that.
Yeah, truly, truly. And when you talk about the bench strength as well, it's going to be a major issue with almost all the teams across the world. Not all teams are blessed like India to have that kind of a core bench strength. You had a team which went to Zimbabwe, which looked totally unlike your main team. You had a team which played in West Indies, which didn't look like your main team at all. They still were able to win because you've got plethora of talent, and there are a lot of people who did not even get a chance to make debut. For example, someone like Rahul Tripathi, is such a good player. Someone like Rajat Patidar, who's been making a lot of noise in the Indian domestic circuit. Prithvi Shaw is waiting in the wings. These players
Honestly,
who
I was
possibly.
expecting Rahul Tripathi to get that first or second or third, at least one of the three games,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
because you are going nowhere with Ishan Kishan coming in at number three, number four. Uh, yeah, but I did not understand what India really wanted. But I think that was approach. That was an approach that VVS thought was sort of likely
Yeah,
to
and
head the
and
team into the right
for the
direction.
for the for the for the news, I think VVS Lakshman is the coach for Team
Yeah.
India in this Asia Cup as well. So he's been appointed as an interim coach, as Rahul Dravid will be missing out due to COVID. He's a very interesting coach. I like the way how he's been operating VVS Lakshman. That he's been operating for a couple of series for India. He was a coach for India in the Under 19 World Cup, where India were crowned the champions as well. So a lot of good memories for VVS Lakshman this year. He'd like to finish off with Asian glory as well
But
as
did it was interesting to see that they did not experiment a lot with the Zimbabwe squad, like the Indian squad in Zimbabwe. They sort of played the, I think 12, 11 or 12 players. I think most of the players played all the three games,
I mean, it was
which was,
also about giving these players a consistent bunch of chances because these players barely get a chance. So if you don't give them a consistent bunch of chance, who will you give? So I think
yeah.
it was a
A surprising call for me was definitely Ishan Kishan playing in the team, with Sanju
yeah.
Samson being their backup keeper when Rishabh Pant is not playing in the ODIs. I definitely feel it is very hard to get Ishan Kishan
The
a
only
spot in the
possible
ODI.
reason I see is to have a left-hander in the middle order. Though you have an Akshar Patel, though you have a Shikhar Dhawan, but maybe I don't find any other logical explanation for that particular reason. Or maybe they would just wanted to give him some bit of game time. Maybe you never know. He's one of the standbys for the World Cup, or just want to see
Yeah,
how
maybe.
he's raring to go. Having said that, it was great taking all your questions. It was great to interact regarding Pakistan squad because it's a squad which is going to be which is going to be a high octane squad for many reasons because of the reason that they're very young squad. Their average age in the bowling department is close to 23, 24. They've got Mohammad Hasnain, they've got someone like Shahnawaz Dani, they've got Mohammad Wasim Jr., they've got Naseem Shah. It's a very interesting bowling lineup for many reasons, and that's one of the reasons why you would like to watch out for this bowling attack in the Asia Cup because without Shaheen Afridi, who's been their raring force throughout the last couple of years, he's going to be missing out due to knee injury because there's a school of thought who thinks the Shaheen Afridi was overused. I think we'll talk about it some other day because it's a huge topic as well in itself. Maybe when we do the preview of Asia Cup of India versus Pakistan, we'll be talking about why Shaheen Afridi got injured and where did Pakistan cricket really go wrong in managing Shaheen Afridi, the bowler, because you kind of want to preserve a bowler like Shaheen Afridi because you don't get these kind of ballers every day in and day out. So when you have such kind of ballers who are your trump card ballers in all three formats, you would want to preserve them as much as possible. That maybe that's where Pakistan cricket kind of slightly failed. Thank you, Sandeepan. It was great talking to you.
And I think we are going to be really consistent in the coming days, because just
Yeah,
2 days for Asia Cup and 3 days for the big India Pakistan encounter. So I definitely feel that we can sort of do anything, sort of a watch along in the India Pakistan game. Definitely,
yeah.
if demanded. But yeah, very interesting times ahead. And we
Very
are also
interesting.
going to come up with very interesting stats regarding the India Pakistan game and the Asia Cup in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. Having said that, thank you guys for joining. Do not forget to play the Asia Cup games on the Boomer 11 app, because it's an app for absolute free of cost. You're gonna win some exciting prices, because there's some exciting brands on board with us who are gonna gift you with some great prices. It's gonna be electronic, there's gonna be some interesting rewards. You all can be a winner by playing on Boomer 11 with absolute, financial risk, no financial risk at all with Boomer 11, and this is your go-to app for the sporting season, because Asia Cup, World Cup, footballing season is on as well. So do not forget to play and enjoy the sporting season with Boom 11. Thank you, Sandeep, and have a good night. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Good night.